Every year, military recruiters look for new young people to fill their enlistment goals. These goals are set based on national security needs and maintaining a balance between the people who are leaving the armed forces and new people being brought into the service. Here's the thing, though. Back in 2023, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force, the big three, all fell short of reaching recruitment goals. This year, however, every branch of the military is meeting and exceeding those goals. Couple factors may be behind this shift. According to research by the Defense Department and the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, there's a link between military recruitment and the overall job market. Could be a connection here. It's usually easier to attract higher quality recruits to the armed forces when the unemployment rate is higher. Also, following the 2023 missed goals, some changes regarding enlistment requirements, a little loosening of things. For example, the Air Force raised the maximum enlistment age to 42. I still don't qualify. And loosened body fat composition standards. Maybe I do now. Here with us to explain how the recruiting process has adapted is Brigadier General Christopher Amrhein, commander of the Air Force Recruiting Service. Sir, thank you very much for being here. You got an important job. You got to refresh the ranks. People leave. We need new people in. Why have you been able to improve your numbers in recent years?
Thanks for the question, Tony, and it's great to be here. Almost 2 years ago, when I joined the team at recruiting, we took a deliberate look at several factors and came up with a four-pronged strategy to get after recruiting. One was to elevate brand relevance. The next one was to really develop and hone in on training and smart operations for our force. And then we really wanted to make sure we were taking care of our recruiters and their families in the field. So we developed a line of effort called Bolster the Force and Family. And then finally, we really wanted to make sure we have a very small footprint, all things considered, for recruiting. And who else out there can help us tell our story better than our airmen and guardians? And so we put a total recruiting network together to be able to tell our story in partnership with civic leaders.
So some of the changes you made to allow you to widen the net was changing the age limit, the body fat composition limit. Does that change the standard or I hate to say quality, but there's a reason why those standards were put in place to begin with. Sure.
So what the Air Force did back in 2023 was actually realign the Air Force to the DoD BMI or Body Mass Index standard. And it did bring several more high quality, specifically the quality of the individuals we have coming in has been and maintains a very high standard. What I will also say is even though the BMI was aligned, the physical fitness attributes that are required to graduate basic military training have not changed.
Okay.
And so, so that opportunity to find talent is out there, but still to get through our basic military training and follow-on trainings, they still require to meet the required standards.
So famously, if the U.S. is in a recession, people can't find regular jobs, they will consider the military in greater numbers. But we're not in a really bad, there's uncertainty, but it's not a recession right now. So what's the relationship, if any, between the current job market and your numbers?
Well, what I would say in that facet is the current job market, and as you said, we did expand the age up, but that Generation Z is out there. And so how do we find Generation Z and meet them where they are? We've expanded social media presence and authentic storytelling. And also, it's very important for everyone to know that those that are interested in a job in the civilian sector, 99% of those job opportunities we have in the Air and Space Force.
So you're in social media like TikTok, I imagine?
So not TikTok, but we are in almost every other channel for social media to get out there.
That's right. The federal ban on TikTok.
So, I was going to say, during the primary season, during the election season, I did some stories on the gap between young and old Americans when it comes to patriotism, love of country. It shows up in polling. It seems like young people and a growing number of young people may not see the U.S. as a thing worth defending anymore, and that's a crisis in its own right. What are you noticing about the willingness of young people to stand up and say, yeah, I'll serve and I'll defend?
Well, what I can say is there are certain attributes, again, with this generation that I think really resonate with service in all of our armed forces. The fact that they want to be part of something bigger and better than themselves, that they have a love of their own community and their own family. Those things do resonate. And what we want to be able to tell everyone is that when you join the Air Force or the Space Force, you're joining a new family. And our family is here to protect and defend your family. Less than 1% will serve, and that 1% that people raise their right hand to come into are there to defend the other 99%, and they do it every day.
All right, Brigadier General Christopher Amrhein, thank you so much.